Page 5, Cool Dude. And again, as I do in all my videos, I use my process for learning a new piece of music. Everybody has their own, you have your own. But these are my videos, I use my process. So a certain set of steps I go through to learn a piece of music, any piece of music, doesn't matter. First I look it over, I see it's 3 pages long. Bass clef and both staves to start. Okay, keep that in mind. No sharps or flats in the key signature when the key is C major. Make sure you can do the C major scale and the A minor scale because those scales, those key signatures are the same. No sharps or flats. I've given this lecture over and over and over. And it's in cut time. Okay. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2. A half note gets a count. Well, when I first start learning a piece of music that's in cut time, I will temporarily pretend that it's in 4/4 time to get it learned because it's easier to count if a quarter note can get a beat. So I'm going to talk about this as though it's in 4/4 time for a while, and then later on in the lesson I'll put it in cut time. So we're just going to pretend a quarter note gets a beat. Now I want to do each hand to make sure I got the fingering and all that down for the hand. The right hand comes in on measure 5 and it's a 2-1. So 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and. Now they've got a long short rhythm up there at the top. I play everything even for now. We'll do that later. Again, measure 5, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And these tied notes and the syncopations bother some people. I think they're fun, but okay. But if you're confused about it, just temporarily take out the ties and play all those notes in measure 6. 1 and 2 and... So just 3. You got 3 of those. 1 and 2 and... 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Got it? And then once you got that, then put the tie back in. You're just hanging on to one of them. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1. Now, they want third finger on measure 8 here. I don't think so. I'm using third finger here. So I don't want to slide off. I could, and the articulation will let you. But when I first learn a piece of music, I play it all connected. I want a fingering that works connected. So in the right hand, remember this is bass clef. You're down here. 1 and 2, 3. Thumb. And in measure 6, this rhythm causes some people problems, and what I suggest you do, if it is you temporarily take out the ties and play all the notes. See, so you got those 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Get that. Get that. Then you put the tie in. You just hang on to one of those notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1. Now measure 8, they want third finger again. Here. I don't recommend it. I mean, the articulation will let you get away with it, but when I first learn a piece of music, I play everything connected. I want a fingering that works connected if I can find one. So on measure 8, I'm going to use 4th finger there. So at measure 7, 1 and 2, 4, and then 3. That way I can connect it. At measure 10, you bring thumb under, not a problem. Again, this rhythm, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Again, you can take out the tie if you need to. It's there. And then now we get treble clef. Hey, we're up here. Just a broken chord. And then you see in the last measure of the page, you see the RH down that. They're telling you the right hand needs to play the notes. And play the notes where the stems are going up. Here. Here. And the left hand does the others. Now, measure 13. We're in treble clef now. Right here. Basically what we've already done, we're just doing it an octave higher. Let's go down to measure 19. Here, you have that little grace note. I'll do the grace notes later. That's ornaments. I'll do that later. Right now, just play the A. 1 and 2 and 3. And the left hand plays 2 notes. And while the left hand's playing those 2 notes, the right hand comes over to E flat. Here. 3, 1, 2, 3. Here. You don't have to come all the way. You can catch it with 5 fingers. might have to cross over the thumb if you don't want to. I'll leave that up to you. And then going on, next measure is 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and... Now I suggest on that last one you use thumb on that. This is measure 22. Use thumb on that last note. This way you're in position for the next measure on 2. So again, measure 22, you're here, thumb, and now with a 1-ended 2-ender. Here, that's okay. I'm sure you can get that. Let's go down to measure 27. You're way up here. 1-ended 2. I'll let you work on that. Go down to measure 36. We're here. You don't want to be up here. You can do a 3, 2 here. If you don't want your thumb up or your hand up in here, you can do a 2 there if you want. And then 37, you come up. Now these are A naturals. Those flats in measure 36 are only good for measure 36. So these, and this is measure 38 here, here. That's fine. And then going on, bass clef now, and I'll do the grace note later. It's just a C, and then measure 40, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now a treble clef, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2. Well, you're just playing the same thing in an octave higher. Then the last 2 measures, 1 and 2 and 3, crossover, thumb, crossover again, 4. This is where you're in position. The black notes are a little weird, but it feels a little weird, but look at it. Left hand, well, watch this rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. This thumb there. 1 and 2 and comes on the end of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 4. 1 and 2 and 3. And you got a different rhythm going on the right hand. Good luck with all that. Let's go down to measure 11. You're up here. 1 and 2 and 3. And the right hand gets that, and you come down here. 1 and 2 and 3. Let's go over to measure, 20? You're here. 1, 2. I do a 2-1. You can do a 3-1 if you want. I do a 2-1 because on the next measure, I'm going to use 5 and 2. See, starting on measure 21, they got the thumb doing all this. No. Use 2. You can use thumb on the others if you want. But use 2 on the first. Same thing on measure 23. Use 5 and 2 on the first. There. So a measure 20, you 2 for the half note. Now you're in position. Here. I went a little fast, but I'm trying to get the fingering there. That's what it was for. And the last note at the bottom, and the last measure on page 7, the C has an AVA under it, so you go down an octave. If you have the big enough keyboard. If you have a short keyboard, just play the lowest C you have. Then we try and put the hands together. And I hesitate all over. I don't care. I just want to know when the hands are working together. I try and kind of work out the rhythm, maybe a measure at a time or whatever it takes. So starting at measure 5, when they're playing together, it's here. 1 and 2. And again, I'm still connecting everything. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. There. Those two go together. 1 and 2 and 3. Hold the right hand down. Go down to measure 23. Now you have quarter notes in the left hand, that'll help keep the beat. Here, triplets for a couple of beats. And then eighth notes. So again, it's 1. So once I have the hands put together, I go back through it a few hundred times. I get rid of the hesitations. So it's a steady beat. Keep it as slow as I got to go. I don't care. But a steady beat throughout. And then I'll think about the articulation, the staccatos and accents and things. The staccatos are going to be short, and I'm flexing at the wrist here. I'm just bouncing off the keys. I'm on the key, and I'm bouncing off a boom. Short. So the accent bottom. You don't even need the accent sign. You do it anyway, or at least you should do it anyway. In my opinion, it's part of interpreting music. It's syncopated. We're playing the note early. Because you think that would be the regular rhythm, but you're playing it early. And when you play a syncopated note, typically you'll accent it. Just as part of interpreting it, you'll accent it. So even without the accent, I'd still accent it. Measure 5, both hands. Accent. They don't have an accent on the top beat, but I probably would anyway. But make sure you accent the left hand at least. On the last measure on page 5 here, the accent. Anyway, you go through and put in the accents and the staccatos and the articulation. No. And the grace notes. Look on measure 19, the grace note. Just a real quick little note before the beat. In some pieces, again, it's interpretation. In some pieces, you can play the grace note at the same time and release it. That's called crunching it, crushing it, whatever. And other pieces, you'll play it real quick. Most people probably play it right before the beat. 1 and 2. So that comes on 2. 1 and 2. And I play it on the beat. You can't really tell when it's by itself. You just play it. Just short. Here, okay. Now going on measure 21, you staccato. And then I'm flexing here and I connect the right hand. You put in the articulation and the grace notes, and then the dynamics. And I apply to the melody. At the beginning, there's no melody. It's left hand, mezzo forte, and moderately loud. Makes the accent a note a loud note. But then in measure 5, when the right hand comes in, that's the melody. So the left hand's got to go in the background. So you got to come down. You come down to soft. That makes the accent a note sort of soft. Measure 5. Hear the melodies in the right hand. Now when you get to like measure 11, that's all melodies. It's got to be the same. You crescendo up to forte. But the forte is for the right hand really, so the left hand needs to be in the background. Anyway, you can read the dynamics. You put in the dynamics, and then we'll think about the tempo. We have a couple of things here. One is we want to put it in swing rhythm, so it needs to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Swing the eighth notes. We swing the counting. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and measure 8. 1 and 2 and 3. Do you get that? Swing the counting. As far as the cut time goes, we want to feel it in 2. 1, 2, just to relax. You can't go too fast because then the swing doesn't swing anymore. It's too fast. The short notes are too short. So you can't go too fast on swing, and you can't go too slow on swing. You got to stay within the swing boundaries so it swings, but you still want to feel it in 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. That's my impression of it. Don't copy me, please. You make it yours. You get into it. Now on this page turn, how do we do this page turn? Ideally, memorize the piece, or at least page 5. Then you don't have to deal with it. Otherwise, you get somebody to turn the page for you. You can't do that. You got to do it yourself. Well, what do we do? Because both hands are busy all the time. You can't leave out melody notes. We don't like leaving out any notes, but if you got to leave out notes, it's got to be somewhere else besides the melody. And it's really up to you on which notes you leave out in the left hand. But leave out as few as you can somewhere and get the page turned in the left hand as you keep going. Don't mess up the beat because you're turning pages. That rhythm, the melody has to keep going no matter what.